What happens when a ruthless mafia boss abandons his dying mother for a seductive stranger? Victor Castellano ruled the underworld with an iron fist, feared, powerful, untouchable. But when his mother, Rebecca, lay dying with only 48 hours left, he made a choice that would destroy everything. He walked away, straight into the arms of Melina Hudson, a woman with blood-red lips and a darker secret. But who is Melina really? And why did she appear exactly when his mother was dying? As the clock ticks down, Victor discovers a truth so devastating it shatters his entire world. His mother knew something. Melina was hiding something. And the betrayal waiting in the shadows would cost him more than his empire. Will he make it back before it's too late? Can a man soaked in blood ever find redemption? Or did he lose everything the moment he turned back? The answer will haunt you forever. There are moments in life when you stand at a crossroads and the choice you make defines everything that follows. Victor Castellano was a man who controlled entire cities, who made grown men tremble with just a whisper of his name. He had power, money, respect, everything except the courage to face the one person who truly loved him. When the hospital called to say his mother had 48 hours to live, he made a choice that would haunt him forever. He walked away. But this isn't just Victor's story, it's about all of us. Every time we've chosen pride over love, power over vulnerability, escape over confrontation, it's about the people we abandon, the words we leave unsaid, and the forgiveness we never believe we deserve. What would you do if you had 48 hours to make things right? Would you stay or would you run? Because sometimes the most dangerous prison isn't made of bars and concrete, it's the one we build inside ourselves. Before we go further, I need to tell you something that breaks my heart. YouTube deleted our entire channel without a single warning. No violations, no explanation, just gone. Years of late nights, tears, and stories we poured our souls into, erased like we never existed. We're rebuilding from absolute zero, and honestly, we're terrified. Right now, you have a choice Victor didn't take. You can walk away, scroll past, stay silent, just like he abandoned his dying mother. Or you can hit subscribe and comment where you're watching from. It takes 3 seconds. 3 seconds to prove you're not like Victor. 3 seconds to stand with someone fighting to survive. Don't be the person who walks away when someone's begging for help. Subscribe now. Victor Castellano's hands didn't shake when he gave orders to kill. They didn't shake when he counted millions in blood money. But standing in that hospital room, watching his mother's chest rise and fall in painful gasps, his hands wouldn't stop trembling. The doctor had been clear. 48 hours, maybe less. Rebecca Castellano was dying, and there was nothing medicine could do. Would you stay with your dying mother or walk away to protect yourself from the pain? Victor hadn't spoken to her in 11 years, not since the night she begged him to leave the criminal world that had murdered his father, not since he looked her in the eyes and chose violence anyway. Now she lay there, tubes in her arms, skin pale as moonlight, and every beep of that machine reminded him of the son he'd failed to be. Then, Melina appeared in the doorway, silk dress clinging to her curves, red lips curved in a soft smile. She didn't say anything, just extended her hand like a lifeline. In that moment, Victor faced a choice that would define everything. Stay with a mother who represented every mistake he'd made, or escape into Melina's arms where he could forget, just for a while, the weight of his sins. He chose escape. Victor kissed his mother's forehead, she didn't open her eyes, and walked out. As the door closed behind him, he told himself she was better off without him anyway, that his presence would only bring her more pain. that a man like him, soaked in blood and broken promises, had no right to hold her hand as she died. Melina took his arm as they walked through the hospital corridors. Her perfume smelled like jasmine and secrets. She whispered, "You did the right thing. Sometimes the greatest love is letting go." Victor wanted to believe her. God, how he wanted to believe her. If you were Victor, could you live with yourself after walking away? But as they stepped into the night air, as the hospital disappeared behind them, Victor didn't know that Melina Hudson wasn't there to save him. She was there to destroy him. And the choice he just made, abandoning his dying mother for a woman with murder in her heart, would cost him everything he'd spent a lifetime building. The 48-hour countdown had begun, and neither Victor nor his mother would survive it unchanged. Melina's penthouse overlooked the city like a throne room, floor-to-ceiling windows, white marble, everything sharp and perfect and cold. Victor stood by the glass, scotch in hand, watching the lights below. Somewhere in that sprawl of concrete and neon, his mother was dying. His phone had buzzed twice, the hospital, but he'd silenced it. How do we convince ourselves that running away is actually the right choice? Melina moved behind him, her hands sliding around his waist. "You're thinking about her," she said softly. It wasn't a question. Victor didn't answer. What could he say? That guilt was eating him alive? That every minute away from that hospital felt like betrayal wrapped in cowardice? "Tell me about her," Melina whispered. "Tell me about Rebecca." And somehow the words came. Victor found himself talking about a woman he'd tried to forget. How Rebecca had worked 3 jobs after his father's murder. How she'd scrubbed floors in office buildings so Victor could have new shoes. How she'd prayed every single night that her son wouldn't follow his father's bloody footsteps into an early grave. "She told me I had a choice," Victor said roughly, "the night I joined Castellano's crew. She said, 'Your father's death doesn't have to define you. You can be something better.' And I looked at her, this woman who'd sacrificed everything, and I said, 'Maybe I don't want to be better.'" Melina's grip tightened. "You were young, angry. People make choices they can't take back. Have you ever said something you can never unsay? Done something you can never undo?" Victor turned to face her. In the dim light, Melina looked almost angelic, beautiful in a way that felt dangerous, like staring into the sun. She never flinched when he came home with blood on his clothes, never asked questions about the bodies that disappeared or the money that appeared. She'd simply accepted him, the monster and the man. "You make me feel like I could be someone else, like maybe I'm not just the violence." Melina smiled, but something flickered in her eyes, something Victor was too desperate to notice. "You are someone else. You just needed someone to see it." They spent the night talking, drinking, pretending. Melina asked about his empire, casually, like she was just curious. How many operations did he run? Who were his key people? Where did he keep his records? Victor answered, too drunk on her attention to question why she cared. But what Victor didn't know, what he couldn't possibly know, was that every word he spoke, Melina filed away like ammunition. She'd entered his life 3 months ago with a single purpose, and that purpose wasn't love. She made him feel like he could be something other than a weapon, but that wasn't why she came. 24 hours in, and the walls were starting to close in. Victor sat in Melina's penthouse, his phone face down on the marble counter. 7 missed calls from the hospital, 7 chances to be the son his mother deserved, 7 moments of cowardice. When does avoiding pain become choosing cruelty? He poured another drink, the expensive kind that burned smooth. Melina was in the shower, humming something he didn't recognize. The sound should have been comforting, but it felt wrong somehow, off-key, like a song played backwards. Victor's mind kept drifting to Rebecca, to memories he'd buried deep. He remembered being 8 years old, coming home with a black eye from fighting. Rebecca had cleaned his cuts with gentle hands and said, "Violence is easy, baby. It's love that takes courage." He'd been too young to understand then. Now, at 43, drowning in scotch and regret, he understood perfectly. The phone buzzed again. The hospital. Victor's hand hovered over it. One swipe and he could hear her voice. One decision and he could drive back, hold her hand, tell her he was sorry for every wasted year. But his finger wouldn't move. Fear had him paralyzed. Then his work phone rang. Marco, his underboss. Victor answered immediately. Business he could handle. "Boss, we got a problem." Marco's voice was tight with panic. "Talk." "The feds. They're moving on the docks tonight. Someone gave them everything. Shipment routes, offshore accounts, our entire supply chain. Whoever it is, they've been inside for months." Victor's blood went cold. He glanced toward the bathroom. The shower was still running, but Melina had stopped humming. In the sudden silence, Victor heard something that made his stomach drop. A different voice. Melina wasn't humming, she was talking to someone on a phone she shouldn't have. How well do we really know the people we trust with our hearts? "Marco, I'll call you back." Victor ended the call, his mind racing. The shower shut off. Melina emerged moments later, wrapped in a towel, smiling like nothing had changed. "Everything okay?" she asked, too casual. "Fine," Victor lied. "Just business." But everything wasn't fine. In his gut, that instinct that had kept him alive through 2 decades of criminal warfare, Victor knew something was terribly, terribly wrong. The feds had inside information, Melina was making secret calls, and his mother had less than 24 hours left. The pieces were starting to fit together, and the picture they formed was going to destroy him. Victor waited until Melina fell asleep. 3 in the morning, her breathing deep and steady beside him. He slipped out of bed like a ghost, laptop under his arm, and locked himself in her home office. If she was hiding something, he'd find it. He started with the basics, ran her name through his security team's databases. Melina Hudson, age 29, no criminal record, but something felt wrong. There were no school records before age 18, no childhood photos, no family history. What does it mean when someone has no past? Victor dug deeper, using contacts who owed him favors. He pulled surveillance footage from the charity gala where they'd met 3 months ago, watched Melina arrive alone, scanned the room like she was hunting for something specific, for someone specific. Then her eyes locked on Victor, and everything about her body language changed. She'd found her target. His hands were shaking now. Victor pulled up facial recognition software, fed in Melina's photo, and let it search federal databases. 3 minutes later, the screen flashed, "Match found." The photograph that appeared made Victor's world tilt sideways. Melina, younger, maybe 25, standing beside a man in a federal jacket at some kind of ceremony. They were smiling, arms around each other. The caption underneath read, "Active Marcus Hudson celebrates promotion with sister Melina." Marcus Hudson. The name hit Victor like a bullet to the chest. Have you ever learned something that changed everything you thought you knew? Marcus Hudson was the federal agent who'd been hunting Victor for 3 years, the one who'd gotten too close, uncovered too much, the one Victor had ordered killed 8 months ago in a warehouse down the river. They'd made it look like an accident, a drug bust gone wrong, but Victor knew the truth. He'd signed Marcus Hudson's death warrant, and now his sister was in his bed. Victor's vision blurred. The scotch came back up, burning his throat. He barely made it to the trash can before his stomach emptied. This wasn't coincidence. Melina hadn't stumbled into his life at the gala. She'd hunted him, found him, seduced him, all while her brother's blood was barely dry. Would you choose revenge, even if it meant becoming what you hate? He pulled up more files, desperate for answers. Found communication records between Melina and federal contacts, dates that lined up with their conversations, topics that matched things he'd told her in confidence. She'd been feeding information to the feds for months, using his trust as a weapon. He heard movement in the bedroom, Melina stirring. He closed the laptop, his mind spinning with rage and something worse, heartbreak. because beneath the betrayal, beneath the lies, Victor had started to believe she actually cared, that maybe a man like him could deserve something pure. But there was nothing pure about revenge, and Melina Hudson had come to destroy him, piece by piece, just like he'd destroyed her brother. Let me be brutally honest with you. Victor had 48 hours to save his relationship with his mother. He wasted them. YouTube gave us 0 hours, 0 warnings before destroying everything we built. Now we're asking for 10 seconds of your time. 10 seconds to subscribe. 10 seconds to comment your location. But here's the truth that hurts. Most of you won't. You'll watch this entire story, feel the emotions, maybe even cry, then scroll away like Victor walked out of that hospital room. You'll let another creator die in silence because clicking a button feels like too much effort. Is that who you are? Someone who feels everything but does nothing? Prove me wrong. Subscribe and comment right now. Show me you're different. Victor sat in darkness, the gun cold and heavy on the table between them. He'd turned off all the lights in Melina's penthouse, leaving only the city's glow filtering through the windows. Shadows played across his face like accusations. When Melina emerged from the bedroom, she was smiling, that same smile that had made him feel human again. She wore his shirt, her hair messy from sleep, and for just a moment, Victor wanted to be wrong. He wanted the evidence to be fake, the connection to Marcus Hudson to be coincidence. But men like Victor didn't survive on hope. "Come back to bed," she said, voice soft as silk. "You knew." Victor's words cut through the quiet like broken glass. Melina froze. Her eyes adjusted to the darkness, found the gun, found his face. "Victor, you knew. Your brother was hunting me." He kept his voice steady, controlled, even as rage threatened to tear him apart. "You knew I killed him, and you came to me anyway." How would you face someone who murdered your family? The smile died on Melina's face. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then something shifted in her expression, the mask cracking, the performance ending. When she spoke again, her voice was different, harder, real. His name was Marcus. He was 34 years old. He liked terrible jokes and made the best pancakes on Sunday mornings. He was going to be the best man at my wedding. Tears streaked down her face, but her eyes stayed cold. You put 2 bullets in his chest and left him bleeding in a warehouse. Victor's jaw tightened. He was a federal agent trying to destroy my empire. She was my brother. Melina's voice broke on the word. And you took him from me like he was nothing, like his life meant less than your drugs, your money, your precious criminal kingdom. Does having a reason for murder make it less evil? "So, this was revenge," Victor said. It wasn't a question. "It was supposed to be," Melina laughed bitterly, wiping her eyes. "I was supposed to get close to you, make you trust me, feed information to the feds, and watch your empire burn before I testified and sent you to prison for life. Simple, clean justice." "What changed?" Melina looked away. "Your mother called me." Victor's entire world stopped spinning. "What?" 3 months ago, Rebecca Castellano tracked me down somehow. She didn't know who I was, didn't know about Marcus. She just knew her son was drowning in violence and she was running out of time to save him. Can a mother's love reach across impossible distances? Victor couldn't breathe. His mother, his dying mother, had done this? "She begged me," Melina continued, tears flowing freely now. She said, "My son needs someone to love, someone to give him a reason to leave this life." She thought if you fell in love, really fell in love, you'd walk away from the crime. She was desperate, Victor, cancer eating her alive, and all she cared about was saving you. Victor's hands were shaking so badly he had to grip the table. "You didn't know she was Marcus's sister?" "No, she had no idea. Neither did I when she first reached out. But when I realized who she was, who you were, I saw an opportunity, the perfect way in." Melina's voice cracked. "I came to that gala planning to destroy you,
but Rebecca kept calling, kept asking if I'd met you yet, if I thought you could change, and I started to see what she saw. What's that? A man drowning. Melina stepped closer. A man who'd built a kingdom of fear because he didn't know how to build anything else. A man who killed my brother not because he was evil, but because he was terrified. Terrified of being weak, terrified of being caught, terrified of being human. Are we defined by our worst actions, or can we become more? Victor couldn't speak because Melina was right. Every violent choice, every murder, every betrayal, it had all been fear dressed up as power. I was supposed to turn you in, Melina whispered, but your mother's love made me hesitate. She reached across an impossible divide and tried to save you from yourself. And her voice broke completely. I started hoping she was right, that maybe you could change, that maybe what? Victor's voice was raw. Maybe we could both be more than our worst moments. The gun sat between them, heavy with possibilities. Victor could end this now. One trigger pull and Melina Hudson would join her brother. The symmetry would be perfect. But as he looked at her, this woman who'd lied to him, betrayed him, and somehow made him feel human, he realized he'd already lost everything that mattered. His empire was falling, his mother was dying, and the only person who'd ever made him believe in redemption had been playing him from the start. But that wasn't quite true, was it? Because Melina was crying, really crying, and Rebecca had tried to save him. Even dying, even knowing he'd abandoned her for 11 years, his mother had fought for his soul. What does it say about us when the people we hurt keep trying to save us? Victor looked at Melina, at the gun, at his hands that had taken so much and held so little. What happens now? He asked. Melina shook her head. I don't know. And in that moment of shared brokenness, neither of them noticed the clock ticking down. 36 hours into the 48-hour countdown, Rebecca Castellano was running out of time, and her son was running out of chances to say goodbye.
Victor woke to emptiness. The penthouse was silent. Too silent. Melina was gone. No note, no goodbye. Just her absence echoing through rooms that suddenly felt like a tomb. On the kitchen counter, a single envelope. His hands shook as he opened it. Inside was a photograph so old it had yellowed at the edges. Rebecca, maybe 25, eyes bright with joy, holding a chubby baby in her arms. Victor recognized his own infant face, the way his tiny hand gripped his mother's finger like it was the only real thing in the world. Do you remember when someone's love was the only thing that made you feel safe? He flipped the photograph over. On the back, in his mother's familiar handwriting, were 4 words that destroyed what was left of his defenses. You were always enough. Victor collapsed against the counter. All these years, 11 years, he told himself he wasn't enough. Not good enough to deserve his mother's love. Not strong enough to leave the criminal life. Not brave enough to be the son she'd raised him to be. And Rebecca had known. Somehow, even dying, she'd known he needed to hear this. You were always enough. The clock on the wall read 2:47 a.m. The 48-hour mark was at 8 a.m. 5 hours. That's all that remained. Victor grabbed his keys and ran. The elevator took forever. His car screeched out of the parking garage. The city was dead at this hour. Empty streets and red lights he blew through without caring. Every second mattered now. His phone rang. The hospital. Victor answered, still driving, terror making his voice crack. I'm coming. Tell her I'm coming. Mr. Castellano? The nurse's voice was gentle, practiced in delivering bad news. Your mother's vitals are declining rapidly. If you want to see her, you need to get here soon. How long? Victor's vision blurred with tears.
I can't say for certain, but she's been asking for you. What does it feel like to realize you might be too late? Victor pressed the accelerator to the floor. The engine roared. Buildings blurred past. He thought about the last time he'd seen Rebecca, 11 years ago, standing in the doorway of the small apartment where she'd raised him. She'd said, "You're choosing death over life, Victor. Your father's death over your own future, and I can't watch it happen." He'd walked past her without a word, believing strength meant feeling nothing. What a fool he'd been. The highway stretched ahead, nearly empty. Victor's mind raced through memories. Rebecca teaching him to tie his shoes. Rebecca staying up all night when he had the flu, cool cloth on his forehead, singing softly. Rebecca at his 8th grade graduation, crying with pride, even though he'd barely passed. Rebecca begging him not to join the Castellano crew. Rebecca saying, "I love you," even as he walked away. Rebecca, Rebecca, Rebecca. Always there, always loving, always believing he was more than the violence. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "She's still fighting. She's waiting for you. Drive safe. M." Melina. Even now, after everything, Melina was helping him get to his mother. Whatever happened next, prison, betrayal, consequences, it didn't matter. Nothing mattered except reaching Rebecca before she let go. Have you ever wanted to turn back time and make different choices? Victor's mind drifted to a question that had haunted him for years. What if he'd listened to his mother? What if he'd gone to college like she wanted, become something legitimate, built a life on light instead of darkness? Would he be happy? Would he feel this crushing weight of regret? Or would he have found some other way to destroy himself? Because that's what scared him most, the suspicion that violence wasn't something that happened to him, but something in him. That maybe he'd always been broken, and the criminal life had given his brokenness a shape. But then he thought about Rebecca's words on the back of that photograph. You were always enough. Not you could have been enough if you'd made better choices, not you'll be enough when you fix yourself. Just you were always enough. Present tense, even now, even after everything. Can we be both broken and enough at the same time? The hospital appeared on the horizon, lit up like a beacon. Victor pulled into the emergency bay, abandoned his car with the engine still running, and sprinted through sliding doors. The night nurse tried to stop him, visiting hours, regulations, protocols, but Victor pushed past. He knew which floor, which room. He'd memorized it during that brief visit 48 hours ago when he'd chosen escape over love. The elevator took forever. He took the stairs, 3 at a time, lungs burning. 5th floor, turn right, 3rd door on the left. Room 517. Victor's hand hovered over the door handle. Fear paralyzed him one final time. What if she'd already gone? What if he was too late? What if she looked at him with disappointment instead of love? But then he heard it, the faint beep of a heart monitor. Still beating, still fighting. Rebecca was waiting. Victor pushed open the door. The speedometer climbed past 90 as Victor's hands gripped the wheel, his knuckles bone white against the leather. Every red light felt like a personal assault. Every second was a theft. The envelope sat on the passenger seat, Rebecca's handwriting burning into his vision, even when he wasn't looking at it. You were always enough. 4 words that demolished 11 years of carefully constructed lies he'd told himself. 4 words that stripped away every justification, every excuse, every reason he'd invented for staying away. The city blurred past him in streaks of neon and shadow. He'd built an empire in these streets, ruled them with fear and blood, but now they meant nothing. His phone vibrated continuously, his underboss, his lawyers, his soldiers, all of them screaming about the walls closing in. He didn't answer. Let them burn. Let it all burn. The only thing that mattered was a small hospital room where a woman who'd given him life was losing hers. When he finally burst through the hospital doors at 4:13 a.m., the fluorescent lights felt like an interrogation. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his face unshaven, his eyes wild. The nurse at the station started to speak, but something in his expression made her simply point down the hallway. He ran. Victor Castellano, who never ran from anything, ran like a child racing home before dark. Her room was quiet, too quiet. Just the mechanical rhythm of her breathing, labored and shallow, each breath a struggle she was losing. Victor stood in the doorway, suddenly paralyzed. What do you say to someone you've abandoned for 11 years? How do you compress a decade of apologies into minutes? But then Rebecca's eyes fluttered open and she saw him, really saw him, and she smiled. Victor crossed the room in 3 strides and took her hand. It was so small, so fragile, nothing like the strong hands that had held him as a child, that had tried so desperately to pull him back from the edge. "I'm sorry," he whispered, the words breaking apart in his throat. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I should have stayed. I should have." Rebecca's fingers tightened around his with surprising strength. Her lips moved and he leaned closer to hear. "I forgive you," she whispered. 3 words, just 3 words, but these shattered the chains he'd been wearing for 11 years. Tears streamed down his face as she smiled one last time, her eyes holding his with such love, such absolute love, despite everything he'd done, everything he'd become. Then the light in her eyes dimmed, and she was gone. The machine's steady tone filled the room. Medical staff rushed in, but Victor didn't move. He sat there, holding her cooling hand as the sun rose over the city he'd once ruled, illuminating the truth he'd spent his entire adult life running from. His mother had never stopped loving him, and he had never been beyond redemption. He'd just been too afraid to believe it. 6 hours later, Victor stood on the docks as federal agents swarmed his warehouses. The empire he'd built over 15 years crumbled in 72 hours. His soldiers scattered like rats, his money frozen, his legacy erased. But when the FBI came for him, guns drawn and voices sharp with authority, Victor didn't run, he didn't fight. He simply raised his hands and let them take him. For the first time in his life, he wasn't running from anything.
The trial was swift and merciless. The evidence Melina had gathered was damning, irrefutable. Life in prison, no possibility of parole. The judge's gavel fell, and the courtroom erupted. But Victor felt nothing except an odd sense of lightness. He'd lost everything that made him powerful, the respect, the fear, the empire. But he'd gained something more valuable in his mother's final moments: peace. Now Victor sits in a cell no bigger than his mother's hospital room, and he doesn't rage against it. No visitors come, no appeals are filed. He keeps one photograph on the concrete wall: Rebecca, young and beautiful, holding a small boy with hope in her eyes. Sometimes he talks to that photograph, telling her about his day, asking her questions he never asked when she was alive. Sometimes he just looks at it and remembers her final words: "I forgive you." He never sees Melina Hudson again. Some say she entered witness protection, that the guilt of loving the man she was supposed to destroy consumed her. Others say she disappeared into another identity, forever running from the ghost of her brother and the dying woman who begged her to save a monster. Victor never searches for answers. He doesn't need to know. She was the catalyst, nothing more. The match that burned down his empire and forced him to face the truth. In the beginning, other inmates tested him. They knew who he was, what he'd been, but something in his eyes stopped them. A stillness, an acceptance. Victor Castellano was no longer a king. He was just a man who'd made terrible choices and received an impossible gift: forgiveness from the one person whose opinion had always mattered. Late at night, when the prison goes quiet and the weight of forever presses down, Victor sometimes wonders what would have happened if he'd stayed those 48 hours ago. Would Rebecca have lived longer? Would Melina's betrayal have hurt less? Would he still have found this strange peace? But these questions don't torment him anymore. They're just whispers in the dark,
powerless against the memory of his mother's smile and the warmth of her forgiveness. He lost everything that made him powerful, but gained the one thing he'd been running from his entire life: peace. Not the peace of victory or dominance, but the quiet peace of a man who finally stopped running and let himself be loved, even if only for those final precious moments. Did he deserve forgiveness, or was it already too late the moment he walked away? The answer doesn't matter. She forgave him anyway, and in the end, perhaps that's all that ever mattered. Victor got his mother's forgiveness, but it came too late. YouTube showed us no mercy. They deleted our channel, destroyed years of hard work without a single violation notice. We're starting over, broken and desperate, just like Rebecca lying in that hospital bed, hoping her son would come back. Right now, you're Victor standing in that doorway. You can walk away, let this channel die in silence, tell yourself it doesn't matter, that someone else will help. Or you can be the person Victor should have been. Subscribe, comment where you're watching from, give us the chance he threw away. Because if you don't, if you just scroll past after watching this entire story, you're no different than him. Don't let another dream flatline. Hit subscribe now.